Okay guys, so what we've got here is the Arikazan VG30 30 kilowatt wood gasification boiler. It's got two chambers, the upper burning chamber. We started a fire about 10 or 15 minutes ago and that's starting to move along. If you come in a bit closer there, you might be able to just see at the bottom there's a vertical blowtorch flame that runs down to the bottom chamber. Maybe you can't see, it doesn't matter. Okay, just this thing here, this is a safety feature. When you first light the fire up, you want to let lots of oxygen get into the kindling until things get going, and then you add more wood after about 30 to 40 minutes. This thing is a safety latch, and it lets you keep that door open at the side so you can see there's lots of room there for oxygen to get in. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at all the bells and whistles. This guy here, that symbol is the combustion fan at the back. That combustion fan controls the amount of air that gets into the upper chamber. The 5 posts all being up above it indicate that that fan is running at full speed. T1 is their symbol for a thermostat that's physically right there at the top of the boiler, so it senses the flow line temperature. This is the flow line. Right now, back to the controller, that point there, T1, is 43.5 degrees. We've got a set point programmed currently of 85 degrees. What that means is that when the temperature eventually gets up close to 85, the combustion fan will ratchet back and reduce the ferocity of the burn by limiting the amount of oxygen or air. Okay, just a quickie too while we're here. If you want to do things like change the maximum temperature or the desired set point that's currently 85, you hit that F button, the screen lights up, and the parameter you're going to change starts blinking. So we might just for fun reduce that down to 80 degrees. Then hit F again, and I can talk about these other parameters some other time. So we'll just hit that until we jump back out to the main screen, and there you are. Okay, this guy here is a cap that covers a 100 degrees C safety thermostat. Pretty much every boiler in the world has a 100 degree safety stat there to shut the whole thing down if the top of the boiler gets to 100 degrees C. If it does trip open, that red neon comes on. To reset it, after things have cooled down, a person comes along, pushes that button in, and it should reset. Okay? Alright, just come around here. Let's just follow this journey. Flow line out of the top of the boiler, in this case in 1-inch copper. This weird looking thing here is an air and dirt remover. It's designed to remove oxygen out the top section and to catch dirt, drop it to the bottom, into that bottom section. So periodically this should be opened up. I'll just do it a little bit now to flush any dirt in the network out. Moving along here, we've got a standard 3-bar pressure relief valve. Okay, a normal safety feature on any closed hydronic system. Talking of closed, this system is closed to atmosphere. If you come around there, Ant, you can see when a system's closed to atmosphere, the water needs room to expand. Those red things on the floor are rubber diaphragm expansion tanks. They are hydraulically connected to the return line going back into the boiler. Okay, so when the water gets bigger because it's getting hotter, extra room's needed. That's what the expansion tanks are for. Okay, just come back a little bit. Let's see this next feature coming along this flow line. We've got an extremely large sensor here. And that sensor is about that long. And the idea is, everyone, if that gets up to about 96 degrees centigrade, the alcohol in that line will force this valve to inject cold water through that valve. That valve's called a wood log safety valve. If that valve opens up, cold water rushes in. Internally, this thing's got an internal heat exchanger coil to take the edge off the heat inside the boiler. This point here is the discharge, so that should be plumbed by the plumber down to waste or into a ton dish. Okay, so that's that. The next thing of interest is, before every burn, this handle should be moved up and down a few times, and the effect of doing that is to clean the vertical heat exchanger ports inside the boiler. Okay. Just another quickie. In the real world, an installing plumber might remove that 1/2-inch plug and insert, oh, it's 3/4 actually, 3/4-inch plug, and insert this copper pocket and sensor in that point. This has just been put here so you can see it on the video. Right. Okay, so here's the flow line, and what we've got is the flow line goes down to this 3-way charging valve, which I'll get back to in a minute. Right now, the controller it's this controller made by Plum. One of its jobs is to, when the water temperature at the top of the boiler gets to around about 56 to 60 degrees, it will send 240 volts down to our 3-way charging valve. So right now there's no circulation using the circulating pump, but in a minute or two this circulator right here will turn on. When that happens, water will circulate down through the 3-way valve and go straight back to the boiler, just in a closed loop. There will be no flow on this side, and we'll get back to that again in a minute. Okay, so the next thing is the charging valve. It connects to the thermal storage tank, which is right here, and at the bottom of the thermal storage tank, the cold water feeds into the third leg of that 3-way valve. Now again, right now there is no flow coming out of there. Okay, all these 3-way charging valves internally have a thermostat that's designed to open up at a certain set point. The one inside this opens up at 70 degrees. When the thermostat inside of there, and it's inside this hot flow line, when it opens up, it permits cold water to enter into here and mix with the hot coming down and go back to the return line of the boiler. And as soon as cold water flows in here, we will immediately get hot water up the top here, gets sucked into the top of the thermal storage tank. Now the whole idea, everybody, is that this thermal storage tank gets charged with water 70 degrees plus. Right? So down here we might have water at about 10 degrees. When we get flow here, the tank layers 70 degree hot water from the top down. So I'll pop the thermostat up here, which hopefully you can kind of see. So right now that point there is about 27 degrees. So it's pretty warm today, so that's just the temperature in the room. Okay, so that's it. So pretty much we're just now waiting for the boiler to enable the charging valve. Now that symbol right there, coming close ahead, that little triangle with a circle around it is a standard pumping symbol, or for a symbol for a pump. Now, and that's because the controller has enabled the circulator here. And I've got a power wand here. When there's power being applied, this will glow, and that circulator is circulating in that loop. Okay, so right now everybody, the top of the boiler is sitting at 64.8 degrees, and we'll come back when the top of the boiler is about 69 to 70, just to show you the effect of that three-way valve. And after about 5 minutes after that, we'll then see that this point here and this thermostat display will start moving up to get to 70 and so on and so on. Okay, so a quick look here. We've gone over our 70 to 71 degree threshold. The charging valve will now be charging the top of the tank, and we can see that that's what's happening. This temperature here will very quickly get to 70 degrees. Okay. Okay, so everyone, once you've got a nice bed of coals in this thing like we have now, now's the time to build a raft of wood logs no wider than around about 120 millimetres and about 500 mils long, or you know, you might want to use two 250s end to end, but the idea is you build a raft of wood, one on top of the other, and right from the bottom to the top. Now this chamber supports about 35 to 40 kilograms of wood, so it will generate a lot of heat. The burn, okay, and then of course you can shut it, fully shut it, once you've done that. What else was I going to say? That's pretty much it. So after about 4 to 5 hours you'll come back and the fire should be very close to being extinguished, and the thermal storage tank should be well and truly full of very hot water. The very hot water will of course end up being about 80 degrees because that's what we set the top of the boiler to. Come around the back. Okay, so what we've got at the back, first thing is that's the power feed from the 240 volt connection of the wall. This is the power feed to the combustion fan. Over to the right there's, in fact in the newer units, there's 3 outputs, 240 volt outputs. That one there feeds the 3-way charging valve. These other ones are designed to connect to an optional physically local domestic hot water tank that you might want to charge directly off the boiler. That is pretty much